Vijitāśva offered the eastern part of the world to his brother Haryakṣa, the southern part to Dhūmrakeśa, the western part to Vṛka, and the northern part to Draviṇa. Formerly, Mahārāja Vijitāśva pleased the king of heaven, Indra, and from him received the title Antardhana. His wife's name was Shikhandini, and by her he begot 3 good sons. These 3 sons of Mahārāja Antardhana were named Pavaka, Pavamana, and Shuchi. Formerly, these 3 personalities were the demigods of fire, but due to the curse of the great sage Vasishta, they became the sons of Mahārāja Antardhana. As such, they were as powerful as the fire gods himself, and they attained the destination of mystic yoga power, being again situated as the demigods of fire. So, Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurulmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vande Nanda Vrajastrinam Padrenum Abhishnasha Yasam Harikathodgitam Punati Bhunatrayam. So, what's going on here? Who's been following this series of Bhagavatam? Anybody's reading every day? You have to read every day. How old are you now? 22. Oh, this is very good age. Very good age. Then after you grow up, there's so many things that comes. The mind is a little cluttered with, because the life takes has to conform to social duties. And once you conform to the social duties, and there's so many things you have to arrange and improvise, so later it cannot be so easy. So 22 is a very good age. And once that prints in your mind at 22, then you're set for your life. So this is a golden period. Yeah? If you can possible, you have to read Bhagavatam. So, just giving you my story, at 22, I used to sit like you there. And just a discipline, I used to sit in front of Atmaram Prabhu used to do these classes. And I used to sit there, and I still those memories are so fresh in my mind. Because at that age, you print something, it just stays with you. Yeah? So you have to read Bhagavatam every day. It's like, brushing your teeth, having a bath. You don't forget 3 times food, do you? Do you? You don't. So how can you forget Bhagavatam? Oh my God. So, yeah, it's not just because we're in Hare Krishna and I have to say this. It's not like that. We are sitting in a Hare Krishna temple and you got to say what you got to say. Speak the party line. It's not like that. Perhaps it will help once we do explain the purports and the translations. Perhaps, hopefully, the interest will grow for you. Hopefully, I'll do a good job. Hopefully not. So let's give a little background here. Yeah. The background is that Prithu Maharaj's story has just been completed. Maharaj Prithu was the original king of this planet. And Bhagavatam, what it does is now and then Shuka Maharshi and Sutta Goswami, they give a genealogical table. You understand genealogical table? Genealogical table is all the succession of kings, how the Bhagavatam has come to our hands. And so these kings are all the people that are mentioned in the whole, this genealogical table, this order of all the kings. They were not necessarily all of them from this earth. They're not necessarily from earth. For example, Dhruva's father, Uttanapada, Manu, they're all like kings of the whole planetary system. If you see the picture of the planetary systems from the NASA, the image of them, picture is a funny word, but if you see the image, so these were kings coming from this whole galaxy. They're coming from different parts of the galaxies. So it's not necessarily all of them belong to this planet Earth. And everybody in every part of the galaxies, regardless of sun planet, Bhagavad Gita mentions, originally this was spoken at the sun god's court. So, regardless of its sun dynasty or its moon dynasty, its Sutalaloka, where Bali Maharaj is there now, or heavenly planets where Brihaspati is there, or Tapaloka, where Kumaras are there, or you keep going, Satyaloka. When you keep going like this, everywhere you see the Bhagavatam, it shows how the line, doesn't matter which galaxy, which part of the universe it is, the Bhagavatam is the common thread of self-realization. So you could go to UTS, you could go to University of Sydney, you could go to Macquarie University, but the Bhagavatam will be eventually the single thread to unify all those universities. You understand? So for us it's very hard to grasp this. Why? Because we are conditioned, we are programmed to understand things and laws of this planet. So as soon as someone says, you know, there were fire gods that have took birth as the sons of Antardhana, and you hear like this, you're like, whoa, we can't understand all this. We think it's like some Indian folk tale, like fables. Indians made up these things, you understand? So there is a philosopher, a writer, his name is George Bernard Shaw. Anybody heard of George Bernard Shaw? No? He says something interesting. He says, a reasonable man adapts himself to the universe. But an unreasonable man persists that the universe adapts to him. You want me to repeat it just to clarify? A reasonable man adapts himself to the universe. But an unreasonable man persists that all the universe adapts to him. That's unreasonable man. You understand so far? It's clear? So Bernard Shaw says that. So if we keep imposing, if we keep extrapolating our programming and see the world and universe as our understanding, it's not going to work. We have to understand the universe as it is. Adapt the universe to us. We adapt ourselves to the universe. Then it becomes intelligible. It makes sense. How is so far so good? Is this all too much or not too much? Okay, we have a small crowd today, so hopefully I won't put you to sleep or something. So, English is okay for everybody? English okay, bro? Okay. So, there is an interesting, so I'll bring another philosopher now. Sorry, I talk a little philosophy, if you don't mind. So there is a Greek philosopher, his name is Xenophon. Anybody heard of him before? Zeno. So he says something very interesting. He says, if oxen and horses, if oxen and horses could paint pictures, they would paint pictures of gods with the faces of oxen and horses. He says, if Xenophonus, he's a pre-Socratic philosopher, if oxen and horses could paint pictures, they would paint pictures of gods that look like oxen and horses. Why did he say that? He was criticizing, by saying that, he was criticizing people who are religious. That we are just emotional people who are just trying to paint pictures of these gods in the way we are. Because if you look at the picture of Prachina Barishad sitting in front of Narada Muni, he looks like just some, old Indian king with a dhoti and kurta, right? But these people belong from different planets. They're not necessarily like us. Like, water, earth, fire. They were not necessarily like us. But because to make it comprehensible, we are drawing pictures of Prithu Maharaj or Krishna or, Antardhana or Prachina Barishad or Bali Maharaj or Indra. When we see paintings in the Bhagavatam, we see pictures as if they look like us. With a kurta, dhoti, and I can't wear kurta because I have a little shoulder problem. So I have to wear these loose shirts. So when we're drawing pictures of our gods, we are drawing as if they look like us. So Xenophonus is saying, if oxen and horses could draw pictures, they would draw pictures of gods that look like oxes and horses. So what he's trying to say is that it's just emotion. There's no gods out there. It's just our programming, our emotional thinking, that we do all these things. But I have a challenge for Xenophonus. I have a challenge. He's just saying it's just our imagination to think that, there is Prithu Maharaj, there is Haryakṣa, who sent to, the preach in the east, and who sent Dhūmrakeśa to the Dakshiṇa, and he had Antardhana, and Antardhana had Pavaka, Pavanash, and Pura, and all these people, right? So, did I do word to word or no? Maybe not. Okay, I'll do it later. So, when we draw pictures of them, we're drawing pictures. So, what he's trying to say is just our imagination. But I have a challenge for him. You want to know my challenge for him? Say, for example, Chittahari Prabhu was doing Sankirtan in a desert, somewhere in Sahara country. And then he's been there for a long time. And all he saw was desert for 3 or 4 years. Hope it'll never happen. Hope he'll always stay in Sydney with us. So I'm just giving a situation. Say, and who knows, he's so courageous, he might even go into a desert one day. So say, for example, we're doing Harinam for 4 years or 5 years, and we kept doing it in a desert, and there's no gardens and parks in the deserts. There's no water, there's no rivers, there's no flourishing mountains. And one day you feel like this strong urge, and you imagine and you feel like this whole desert, I wish I was back in Vrindavan, or I wish I was in, back in Ukraine, there is some greenery, or I wish I was back in India, or I wish I was back in Australia, or New Zealand, green rivers, lushes of bushes, flowery mountains, and you imagine and you feel, find this strong urge, emotional urge to go into green parks and gardens. And you paint pictures to make it colorful, you paint pictures of these green parks and, and in your room and to me. Does that mean it's just his imagination and there are no parks everywhere, anywhere around, other than it's just sand everywhere, there's no parks, there's no rivers? Is that true? Just because you're imagining that there has to be something better than a desert, is that just an emotional attachment, or is it real? There is actually out there some green, lushy bushes, beautiful rivers, blue seas, nice mountains. Is that completely false if he's thinking about all that in a desert where there is no such things? You understand what I'm trying to say? So I think Xenophanes' argument is completely false. That just because we are human beings and just because we can imagine beautiful, some of our ancestors have actually met these people. It's not just imagination. Shukadeva Goswami, Sudha Goswami, they've actually met all these great people. They've actually met Manu. They've actually met these fire gods. They've actually met Indra. Indra came to Vrindavan. Yeah, people actually, it's just 5,000 years ago. Indra actually came to Vrindavan. Brahma came to Vrindavan. So we have testimonies here where people have saw this. And if we now imagine all these people and we draw pictures and they look like human, how can you insult us by saying that if oxen and horses and cows could paint pictures, they would paint pictures of gods like their like oxen and horses? It doesn't make sense. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So what I'm trying to say is these people were not from these planets. They were from different areas of this universe. And this is very good to know. Why is this very good to know? Why is this very good to know? Very good. That's very good. You use some very technical terms there. Can you catch? Oh, very good. Well done. So you used very technical word there, and I'm very, very happy. You said absolute truth. So absolute truth is something that's not just true on earth and false. It's not just true in America and false in India. Or it's not just true in Australia and false in Ukraine. It's not just true in Ukraine and false in Russia. Absolute truth is true everywhere. So when you understand, very good, I'm very happy. You should really start reading Bhagavatam because you'll become a very good Bhagavat. You should really take this up. I really encourage you. You'll become a very good Bhagavat. You have a sound brain. So, why we need to understand, and it's good to understand these stories, is because you're understanding that everybody reads Bhagavatam, doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter if they're on Sun, they matter in Mars, or Jupiter, or Satyaloka, or Sutaloka, or any loka, they're all reading Bhagavatam. They're all aspiring, they're all trying to understand Bhagavatam. So, and who is the hero of Bhagavatam? Our local boy, local Vrindavan boy, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. He's our hero, which means the absolute truth is Sri Krishna. Do you see how I brought this all together? Yeah? Just when you're expecting God knows what this guy is talking about, I just brought it together. So we are conditioned, and it's very hard for us to see all this like this. But when we hear from Bhagavatam stories from different planets, different galaxies, different times, different planetary systems, then we understand everybody is reading Bhagavatam. Everybody is adoring Krishna. So why should I miss out? It's like you're in a football game, right? Everybody is going for the winning team. Why should I miss out? You understand? Everybody is going to state of origin. I want to get a ticket too. So I want a ticket in Krishna consciousness. Do I have a ticket? Can you sell me a ticket? You understand? So, this is very interesting to know all these people like this. Because, see, this is very important. Sorry for all this philosophy. Anybody speak German? A little German? No? No German? Okay, anyway, I'll do it in English. You do?
I know a few words, Presidency, Deutsch, little like, do you know German?
Oh, very good. So you know Immanuel Kant?
No, I just know this line.
Very good. Okay. That's Spiegler and Underwand. Okay, yeah. And so, German, there was a philosopher, Immanuel Kant, he said something very interesting. He said, it is very unreasonable, it is very unreasonable to find the cause of this universe within this universe. You want me to repeat it? You get it? It's very unreasonable to find the cause of this universe in the universe, because that's very silly. Because the cause, the parent is somewhere, has to be somewhere else for the child. If I tell you my parent is in me, so what's wrong with this guy? Who gave him the chair? But my parent, my mother is in India and I descended from her, then it makes sense to you. So in the same way, to say the cause of the universe is here, he says the cause of the universe has to be outside the universe. This is Immanuel Kant. And it says it actually breaks the very logic, the reason to say the cause of the universe is here, because it has to be transcendental outside, which makes this universe intelligible. Too much for Thursday morning, or is it okay? So far so good. If it's too much, stop me. Yeah? So he says the cause of the universe has to be somewhere else, which is making this universe intelligible for us. So if we understand Bhagavatam correctly in this sequence, then it will be very easy to understand Krishna is the absolute truth. It becomes quite, not easy, but I would say it becomes reasonably understandable that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. It doesn't matter which country, which planet, where you are. You understand so far? It's all going good? Okay. So I want to go a little slow because I don't want to assume you understand all these philosophy, because yeah, I have a little philosophical brain. So anyway. So why do we do this? Why do we do this? Have you heard of the Tokyo doll? Have you heard of the story of the Tokyo doll? No? The doll of Tokyo? No? So what happened was in the Second World War, the British and the Japs were fighting all the way. So it's called the Tokyo, actually it's called the Tokyo Rose. The Tokyo Rose, the Rose of Tokyo. And what is the Rose of Tokyo, or the Tokyo Rose, is that when the war was going on between the Japs and the British, and to the end of it, eventually obviously America got involved. It was actually between America and Japs. And what happened was, when the war really came to the point where it really became fearful, America did a little trick. So what they used to do is, in the speakers, they used to make this beautiful girl speak to this Japanese. It's like, "Hey Paul, I'm waiting for you at home. When are you going to return? I can't wait for you. You are my first love." So they make all these sounds, and sometimes, they even say, like, "You got to go back to your home because your wife has been waiting for you for so long. If you don't return quickly, she's going to run away with the neighbor." Anyway, joking. Joking. I'm serious. So they used to play this. What they do is they break the morale of the enemy soldiers by playing these beautiful voices. It's called Tokyo Rose. You can chat GBT this, tell you what is Tokyo Rose and during the World War II. I'll tell you. So I say this Tokyo Rose is like the Maya. You want to know the consciousness, the Atma wants to know so much, but the Tokyo Rose, the Maya inside, is telling, hey, what's your name? Salon. Salon. The Maya is, I'm so beautiful. Just stay on this planet. Look at these beauties around here. I can give you so much pleasure. I can give you alcohol. I can give you drugs. I can give you beautiful girls and sex. Look at these beautiful Aussies. Look at the Japanese. Look at these Indians. Look at these, Spanish girls. Look at these English girls. Come on, Salon. Come in. Look at the Opera House, Salon. It's like the British or the Americans playing this to the Japanese soldiers. Come back home. No, I want to go to the Satyaloka. No, shut up. What are you talking about, Satyaloka? This planet is so beautiful. It's like the Tokyo Rose, you understand? It's playing the music. Stay here, Chitari. This is beautiful, Sydney. No, I want to go to Vrindavan, Krishna Loka. No, don't be silly. Vrindavan, Goloka, stupid things you're talking about. This is so beautiful. Look at the Palm Beach. Look at the Bondi. Look at the tequila. Couple of tequila shots. And the Bondi all of a sudden looks double beautiful. You understand? So it's like the Americans playing to the Japs. The Maya is always playing in your ear. There's actually called sirens. And I don't know. I don't want to do too much philosophy. Anyway, in Iliad and Odyssey, there's the same story. Like Odyssey is going back home. And he comes to this island and there's all these sirens, beautiful angels. He tells his friends to fill his ears with lac and wax and cover his ears with lac and wax. When Odyssey is sailing through this island. Why? Because the sirens are singing these beautiful songs and every soldier gets off the ship and goes into this island and they turn into these witches and they'll peel off their skins and eat their flesh, finish all of them. And Odyssey, that asks them, everybody who wants to survive, fill your eyes with wax and lac. And eyes with like wax. And only some of Odyssey and some of his friends survive through that island. Because they're doing this Tokyo Rose. Hi, come on to your island here. Look at the coconuts. Look at the papayas, mangoes. And look at us. Nice blonde hair. And they get off. They're dead. Skinned off, roasted like the barbecue. Can you imagine yourself like skewed through and barbecuing and witches like peeling flesh out of your thighs and tummies? Literally story. That's how dangerous these people were. But when they came, they like beautiful. So we are programmed like this. We can't let go. It's sometimes actually we don't want to let go. Am I? Yes or yes? It's not we can't. Sometimes we just don't want to let go. Why? Because it's too comfortable. Yeah? So I'll just stop here so I haven't lost you. First we did Bernard Carr and I said how reasonable people adapt themselves to the world, but unreasonable people expect the world to adapt to them, right? And then I spoke about Xenophanes, who talks that if oxen and horses had could paint, they would paint pictures like oxen and horses of gods. But I showed you how that could be unreasonable, because if you're in a desert and if you're yearning and urged to see nice rivers and mountains, that doesn't mean there's no mountains and rivers elsewhere other than the desert. It's pretty silly to think like that. So I challenged Xenophonus, and I also gave you an example of German philosopher Immanuel Kant, who said to look for the cause within this of the universe, within this universe, is very childish because it lies somewhere else. And that's what is making this intelligible to us. You understand so far? Yeah. So, and then I told about the Tokyo Rose. The reason we can't understand all these things, we can't make sense, reasonable and logical sense of Bhagavatam and all these otherworldly people, is because we have been programmed by the Tokyo Rose, the Maya, telling us, come on, let's do this, this is beautiful. Things like this. So, how are we going to get out of this programming? What can we do? Okay, good start. We need a little more. What else? What do we do? We have to be with people who have that kind of consistent Krishna consciousness. We have to always be in company with those people who are consistently in Krishna consciousness like that. Reading Bhagavatam is good, but if you don't have a Bhagavat explaining you what Bhagavatam is doing to you, is Bhagavatam is attempting to you. Because you read Bhagavatam and I went to Badrinath temple and the whole Bhagavatam, the whole 16,000 verses are composed in less than half the magnitude of this verse. Because there's no translations. In Badrinath they expect you know Sanskrit already. So they don't translate it or explain it. It's everything Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, when you put the 16,000 shlokas in Sanskrit, it becomes as big as this book. That's it. Half of this actually. Finisher. So if you read it like some Matha Adhikari is reading in some kind of secluded temples, it won't make sense. But if you see a Bhagavatam from a Brahmana Vaishnava with expansive knowledge to see the absolute truth, and if you're in their company, seeing Maya for Maya and reality for reality. So you have to be in Sadhu Sangha. First is Sadhu Sangha. Yeah? First is Sadhu Sangha. Then comes Bhagavad Shravana. But you have to be in company of the devotees. You understand? So if you're in company of these people and then you understand Bhagavatam like this, then it becomes much more easier. Yeah? So it's a very small purport. Is it okay if I read the purport quickly? Yeah? Just quickly. So, okay, I didn't do the translation. Pavaka, of the name of Pavaka. Maybe I did it, didn't I? I did. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying in Bhagavad Gita 6.41 to 43, it is stated that one who falls down from yoga practice is elevated to the heavenly planets, and after enjoying the material facilities there, he again comes down to earth planet and takes birth in a very rich family or a very pious Brahmana family. Thus it is to be understood that when demigods fall down, they come to earth as sons of very rich and pious families. In such families, the living entities get an opportunity to execute Krishna consciousness and thereby gain promotion to his desired goal. The sons of Mahārāja Antardana had been the demigods in charge of fire, and they regained their former position and by mystic power returned to the heavenly planet. So, the three sons of Antardana, Pavaka, Pavamana and Shuchi, were previously the sons of were fire gods. So now this is interesting, because when I bring Aarti to you, what do you see? Huh? You see light. Good. You've been honest. So there's about 7 and 5, there about 5 and 7, 12 and another 3, something like 15 kinds of fire. Domestic fires, ritualistic fires, final rites fires, atmospherical fires, the fire of the digestive in the body, the fire of energy that makes you passionate and work. There's like 15 basic, just what I remember right now, there's about 15 kinds of fire, but what we see is just one fire. No. When you feel hungry, that's a different fire altogether. When someone says, don't chant Hare Krishna, that is very, very, demonic thing to do. You get angry. That's another kind of fire. You cooking fire to make food in the house, that's another kind of fire. You do fire in Yagna in Mayapur, Prabhu? You do Yagna in Mayapur? Not much. Homa? Yeah, home. Fire? That's a different kind of fire altogether. And when you, in a funeral, when you cremate bodies, that's a different kind of fire. So I can say like just 15 kinds of fires right here, and they're all different people. Now Saloni is going, what do you mean by different kind of people? Because these are energies that are personifications. I'll give you an example. Who has children here? Anybody has kids? Mataji has kids. Yeah, kid too. Of course. So, you have children, bro? Yes. How many? 4, 5. And when Kittu was when he was growing up, 5 or 6 years old or 7 years old, and when he was painting pictures, do you remember, he must have, in every picture there'll be smiley faces. Is that true? How do I know? Because my daughters do the same thing. So when children are painting pictures, it is normal, if they paint a picture of sun, there'll be a smiley face in there. If they paint a picture of mountain, there is a smiley face. If they paint a picture of, an animal, there'll be a smiley face. They paint a picture of rainbow, there's a smiley face. Why are children always painting pictures with a smiley face? Huh? Because think about this very carefully. Okay, this will change your lives forever. Before we are conditioned for this planet, for the social life of this planet, in our innocence, we see everything as personifications. Which is the reason when they paint a sun, there is a smiley face. Like it's a person. When they paint a rainbow, it's a smiley face. Why? Because they see a person. When they paint a picture of moon, it's a smiley face. Why? Because they see a person. You understand? So before we hit this puberty, and then we cross and we are programmed into this social world, what happens is we see everything in that innocence. We see personifications everywhere. So when all of a sudden Bhagavatam is showing this fire as persons, sun as persons, moon as persons, mountains as persons, Giriraj Govardhan, very soon coming festival, right? Big festival. He's a personification. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So everything is a person. But once we hit this social part of this world, we are programmed, then we all of a sudden, everything is impersonal. Mountain is mountain, river is river. But the river Ganges married Shantanu Maharaj. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So there's actually a story in Mahabharata to say, but I don't know, how are you guys feeling? Is it too boring or how is this? You want to hear a story from Mahabharata? Yeah? You want to hear a story from Mahabharata? So there is a story, it also is in Bhagavatam, but in Bhagavatam a little bit of that is missed. For example, you hear the story of Devyani, daughter of Shukracharya? Devyani. So what happens is, before what we hear is Devyani is pushed by her maid servant Sharmishta into a well, and Yayati comes and saves and all that. But there is a story before that. What happens is, when the big war between Bali Maharaj, the demigods and the demons happened at the Sagara Mathana, or before the Sagara Mathana, what happened is, Shukracharya has this power of Sanjeevani to bring everybody to life. So every time the demigods were killing the whole demon clan, but Shukracharya, because of his Sanjeevani power, would bring everyone back. And they all collected together, and with Bali Maharaj as their head, they came back to the heavens to completely level it. And the demigods went to their priest, Brihaspati, and they said, Shukracharya has this beautiful solution for death. He has the Sanjeevani science. Why don't you do the Sanjeevani science and help us? But Brihaspati says, oh, I'm very sorry, I didn't take that subject in the college. So Shukracharya took the Sanjeevani subject, but I didn't take the Sanjeevani class, so I can't do that. And everybody says, oh, that's too bad. So Brihaspati says, I've got a plan. What is the plan? My son Kacha, he's very disciplined Brahmana boy. I'll send him to Shukracharya and learn, so he can learn the Sanjeevani science. So Brihaspati sends his son Kacha to Shukracharya. And Kacha was a very, young, very disciplined, polite, humble boy, and went and enrolled in the University of Shukracharya. And the subject he ticked off there is Sanjeevani science. And the demon saw his application. Says, oh, Kacha, son of Brihaspati. Oh, he elected the Sanjeevani science. Oh, no. We can't do that. Shukracharya says, no, I have to take him. And they say, no, he's a demigod's son. So he's a son of Brihaspati. No, you can't take. Shukracharya says, no, it doesn't work like that. My university doesn't work like that. He's a Brahmana, he's humble. I have to accept him on his own merit. I don't do this. No, and he's a very humble boy. He's already washed my car, cleaned my house. He did all the menial services already. And he's also looking after my daughter. So there was a kind of little romance going on between Shukracharya's daughter and Kacha. No sinful activities, if you know what I mean, but they're getting a little romantic. So Shukracharya said, no, he's a very good boy, I have to accept him. So they enrolled him and they enlist him, and he learns the Sanjeevani science from Shukracharya. So after learning the Sanjeevani science, Kacha is leaving. And Devyani. I keep saying Sharmishta, do I? Sorry, just correction. So it's Devyani. So Devyani comes running and says, oh, you need to marry me. And Kacha says, what do you mean? We got so friendly and I was really starting to love you. He says, no, this was very platonic love. You are like my guru's daughter, so you are like my guru. I have reverence for you, but that friendship was not romantic from my side. But no, I love you now. I'm feeling romantic. You got to marry me. He says, no, I can't do that. So she says, I curse you. You've, drew all this love out of me, and now you're running away without marrying me. It's all a little plan that you made to get this Sanjivini science. I curse you, you'll never be able to use it. He says, oh yeah? Take this. I curse you, you will never be able to marry a Brahmana. Which is the reason she has to marry a Kshatriya Yayati. So anyway, he goes back to the demigod's world. He can't use the Sanjivini, but what he does is, he trains everybody there. So they can use it. So it was fruitful. So, why did I tell the story? This is what happens. So before Shukracharya actually teaches Kacha, the Sanjivini science, demons actually kill him. And Shukracharya and Kacha is not returning home because they had killed him. So Devyani comes and keeps asking, he hasn't come home today. Shukracharya says, no, he's a Brahmana, maybe he's in the forest somewhere doing. Second day, he doesn't come back. No, he's not still home. Third day, he's not still home. So what happened? So what demons do is they make a soup, beverage. Shukracharya used to have some nice whiskey. They were like Brahmana fed demon. So after a yagna, they'd have a few varuni and soma and some alcohol. So they actually convert this Kacha into a soup his body after killing him into a soup. And after making a soup, they mix it in his alcohol and make a cocktail for him to drink. And Shukracharya drinks Kacha with his alcohol, Kacha's body with his alcohol. And then Shukracharya is going, where is Kacha? Where is Kacha? And Kacha is screaming from his stomach, I'm here, I'm here. And Shukracharya says, what do you mean you're here? Here in your tummy, you just drank me. What? Yeah, you just drank me. He says, oh my goodness. So what do we do now? He says, I have a plan. You use your Sanjivini science and then you bring me to life. But Shukracharya says, but you'll burst out of my tummy and I'll die. I have a plan. You teach me the Sanjivini science while I'm in your tummy, and you use that science, you make me alive, and when I come out and you die, I'll use the Sanjivini and I'll bring you back to life and we are both alive. Here is a deal. And Shukracharya says, wow, that's a good deal. So he teaches him the Sanjivini science and then he uses it. He makes Kacha alive. Kacha bursts out of Shukracharya. Shukracharya dies, but Kacha was very good Brahmana. He makes him alive. He makes Shukracharya back alive. Both the teacher and the student are alive. And then that's when he started going away. And Devyani comes and says, marry me. And he says, no, that ain't happening. And she curses him that you'll never be able to use this Sanjivini science. And then he curses her back. And then anyway, he teaches other people. And the Sanjivini science is alive. Why did I tell you all this story? Even when the body was made a soup, the person was still there. The personification was still there. So if there is fire, there can be a personification of fire. That is the whole point of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Oneness and difference. Fire is energy at the same time and a person at the same time. Krishna is Brahman at the same time. Krishna is a person simultaneously. Kacha was a soup at the same time, but he was a person at the same time. So when children are drawing the pictures of smiley faces of sun, moon, mountains, my daughter had a smiley face on her boat. She drew a boat and she had a smiley face. Can you believe that? And I was saying, Sachi, What's going on with the boat and a smiley face? And she goes, the boat is very happy because it's a beautiful day. So we lose that innocence. And then all of a sudden, when we talk about this Bhagavatam, fire god as a person, sun as a fire god, and God, Krishna, is actually a person who dances and plays with his friends and girlfriends, and is very beautiful, and he can actually relate to you. Now I'll finish with this point. See, Krishna, the way Krishna will finally, after you read Bhagavatam, and you will be in company of sadhus, but at the end, Krishna will give you realization that you will accept. In the sense that which is comfortable and convenient for your psychology. The realization that he will give me, and the realization that he'll give you, and the realization he'll give Mataji, and the realization in the sense the connection, realization he'll give Prabhuji, will all be different, because our flavor, our connection with our flavors to Krishna is completely different to each person. So that's why I say epistemology. Have you heard of this word before? It's called epistemology. It means, how do you know what you know? How do you prove that this Bhagavad science, this Bhagavad is actually true? How do you prove? Like, how do you know you know? And the branch of that knowledge is called epistemology. And I say that the Bhagavad epistemology is not one size fits all. Krishna will take you with unique realization that is required for you. Krishna will approach me, hopefully, if I do this correctly, in a way it will appeal to me, in a way I can connect. Krishna will approach you and connect to you in the way it will appeal to you. And Krishna will connect to the Mataji the way it will appeal to her, and she can connect in the way that is her connection to Krishna. In this way, we can say if there are 8 billion people on this planet, there are 8 billion religions on this planet. Because everybody has a unique understanding of Krishna, which is the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Why do we have so many religions? Because we don't all face the same problems. Is that okay? This is too much. I can see you're a little tired. Are you tired? In that case, how can we see Krishna's personal form is the Supreme? Okay, that's good. That's very good. Good question. Very good. You know why it's a good question? Because there's one point I wanted to cover, which will hopefully be covered by that question. See, there is a pertinent shloka. Actually, thank you so much for asking that. Because this will kind of wrap this discussion up very nicely. So there is a shloka. I don't like to keep chucking shlokas, Sanskrit shlokas at you, but this is in the context. There is a shloka in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yavan Artha Udapane Sarvata Samplutodake Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu Brahmanasya Vijanita. Just like all the benefits that's available in all wells of a little village is already available in a big reservoir of a river or an ocean. So if you apply that shloka to our forms, or not our forms, but demigod forms and Krishna, whatever little benefits that we get from all individual forms, they're all available in the big reservoir Krishna. And Krishna completes all these little forms because he is the composite of all other forms. You might see Krishna as Bhagavatam as blue, But he also comes as red. He also comes as yellow. He also comes as ferocious animal, lion, which will appeal to someone else. But some people are appealed with the blue boy. Some people are appealed with the golden avatar. Yeah? Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki. So some people, he's appealed like Jagannath, big eyes, black, Kaliya. They call him Kaliya, all the pandas in Jagannath. So for some, he appeals like Mohini. That's interesting, isn't it? It's a lady, it's a woman. So for some people, Shiva, for Lord Shiva, he appealed as Mohini. For Advaita, he appealed as golden Gaurahari. For Vrindavan ladies, he appealed as blue Krishna. But some other people, he appealed as white Balram. For some other people, green Rama. So, Yavan Artha Udapane, all the benefits that we derive from these little forms, compositely is achieved in one big Krishna, because he can tailor himself and design himself the way it will appeal to you. Like sun comes on Monday, sun comes on Tuesday, sun comes on Wednesday, the sun comes on Thursday. You say Monday sun, you say Tuesday sun, you say Wednesday sun. It's the same sun coming in different ways. Sometimes it's blackish, cloudy. Sometimes it's golden. Today was like shimmering with glow. Some days it's just, completely soothing orange. You can watch it with your bare eyes. So in the same way, God can come in different forms because He's composite of all other forms, and which is why He's a supreme form. Did that answer your question? Not yet, not quite. Okay. Follow up. Yeah, follow up, please. Mm. 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 Ah, okay. Because of there are usually, okay, that's very good. That goes to Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So he actually rates gods. But in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, just like, in cricket teams you have rates, like this, even in like TripAdvisor, and you're shopping something, you go for reviews, right? Like 4 reviews, 3 reviews, 5 reviews. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami rates gods. So he rates Brahma with something like 54 qualities or something. 54 or 58, something like that. Huh? No, that's Krishna. But he starts with Brahma, which is like something like 54. And then he goes to Shiva, something like 58. And then he goes to Narayana, then it comes to 60. And then he goes to Rama, which is, don't quote me on these numbers, but I'm getting there. 60 is where everything stops. But then he gives 4 extra for Krishna. Rupa Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, Leela Madhurya. So these are 4, and you might say, why that is logically, okay, Radhika Prasad, you always speak logic. So logically, why does that 4 make him more? Because one is music. Everybody loves music. Yeah? Like Michael Jackson is dead like 15 years now. And they did a musical. I was there with my children. Packed stadium. Packed. And I don't want to tell you like how ridiculous the tickets were. $600. Like, I think we paid like something like 800 or something. It was ridiculous. But in my childhood, I was a big fan of Michael Jackson, and I wanted to see the live. I had seen so many reviews. Why? Because music appeals to people. So Venu Madhurya and Rupa, even now, Elvis Presley is dead for like more than 4 decades. But you put even now, you go to Universal Studios in America, in the West Coast, still Elvis Presley will come and does that, and the girls are going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Rupa. These things appeal to us. Leela. You can have a God like sitting with a big white beard, but he doesn't have any humor. He doesn't joke with you. There's no humor. It's like, okay, God, what do you want next? Okay, bring me some tulsi leaves. Okay, God. Why is God so serious and grumpy? But if God jokes with you, plays with you, it's appealing. You like someone who plays, wasn't it? Like, look, even our children, until like they go to high school, I don't know what happens in the high school. But until then, we are all play. I don't know about Kittu, but after high school, I don't know, something happens, right? So they become all this serious. So when they're playing, even with your children, how much do you connect? So nice. So you have a God who's playing, who plays music, who has beautiful form, and finally he has a nice decorative peacock feather over him. So this is peacock feather Madhurya. So when you have these four, from the logically, the music, the humor, the pastimes, the decorations, even now, like, what's her name? Edna, the Australian guy who used to make himself as Princess Edna. Anyway, this big humorous guy. He passed away a couple of years ago. Dame Edna. Anyway, it's not coming. So the way he dressed himself as the queen, it was enchanting for people. For 5 decades, he was like the hero of UK, a princess or queen of UK. Why? Because that form, with that, So Krishna comes with this peacock feather and a flute and then beautiful form, and then he plays in jokes. Now, which God would you want? A serious God? What do you want next? Okay, you go to the end of the milk ocean and have a war and kill all the demons for me. Or do you want someone who comes home and says, tells you some jokes and dances and plays? And when you're cooking, he may even give you some little clues. You cooking prasadam for him, but he'll say, oh, maybe you could add some of this, little sauce in there for flavor. And you're like, oh, really? You like that? Yeah, I love it. And then you add it, and he's eating, and he says, and he's actually sitting in picnic, and he actually allows you to steal from his plate. You'll have tears of joy. You understand? This is much more God, isn't it? So Krishna is classic. Once you know Krishna, he's an absolute gentleman. I always tell this story. Okay, I think I may have already answered you, but just to give you a little icing on the cake, right? I always tell this to people. When Krishna meets this funny reptile, the big reptile, in the pit, and everybody is struggling to get him out, Krishna gets him out. And I developed so much respect for Krishna when I read that the first time. And it just hit me like a thunderbolt. The etiquette, the gentleness he shows to the lizard, the big reptile. If you think this is a fitting place, and if you think I deserve to hear, and if you are comfortable to tell me, could you please tell me your story? What a gentleman. It's not like, I'm God. Hey, you bloody reptile. You lowly animal. Could you please tell me your story? No, it's not like he's such a gentleman. Because if I deserve to hear, and if you are comfortable, and if you think this is the right situation, please tell me your story. I was like, God. I mean, if I want a God, I want this God. You know what I'm trying? So anyway, we'll stop there. We're just past 9 o'clock. So, will you remember the Tokyo Rose? The Tokyo Rose? Yeah. If you can keep an eye on the Tokyo Rose, you'll be good. Yeah? Happy? Okay, we'll stop there. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Another Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thursdays like this, week strength? Or?